Right. In the last lesson, we looked into add and subtract real numbers. Now today, we're going to go over multiply and divide real numbers. Okay. The one important rule in multiplying, dividing real numbers is be careful with the signs, positive or negative. So it's basically both numbers are positive, then you're going to get a positive, whether it's multiply or divide. If one of them are negative, then you're going to get a negative. If both of them are negative, still going to get a positive. You know that, right? Or you can simply remember by this triangle. So it says negative times a negative becomes a positive. Or negative times positive gives you a negative. And positive times a negative gives you the negative. So this times this gives you this. This times this gives you this. This times this gives you this. Okay? Make sense? Okay. All right, next one. So in terms of the word, you can see as two numbers have the same sign, which is like both of them are positive or negative, doesn't matter. You're gonna end up with a positive. But if one is negative, one is positive, then obviously you're gonna get a negative. Okay? Just pretty quickly, just for the notes purpose. All right, let's look into the examples. Go ahead and try this one. Multiply and then divide the sign numbers.
That's negative 60.
Negative 60, because positive times negative is a negative, and then 12 times 5, that gives you 16, so it's going to be negative 60. So always good practice is multiply the signs first and then numbers, so that we don't forget the sign there, okay? And we have one number and a fraction, and we're multiplying them. So when you multiply them, it's easy. Multiplication of fractions are easy. 8, I can write 8 over 1. Okay? Because 8
times negative 5/4.
That's right. So 5
and then
fourths.
It's a negative number.
Because
or it would be 8 times negative 1 and 1/4.
Yeah, 8 times. Repeat again.
Times negative 1 and 1/4.
Yeah,
that's 5/4.
That's right. You can do that too. That's good. So you can make that way, or simply the one is positive, one is negative. It's going to get negative. You can multiply on the numerators and multiply the denominators. You can do that.
It's going to be negative 10.
That's right. Or if you want to simplify them over the year, you can cross and 4 and then 8.
It's always to simplify no matter what.
That's right.
Unless it asks you not to simplify it.
That's right. So always get that. Okay. Very good. All right. That's good. Let's do next one. That's true. That's negative 7, and this is positive 44. The next we're going to look at it is called reciprocals. What reciprocal means?
The reciprocal of 1 or for 2 is 1 or half.
That's right. So anything you kind of flip the fraction, it's called reciprocal. Basically, numerator becomes denominator, denominator becomes numerator. Let's say if I take a 3 over 2, the reciprocal is 2 over 3. Okay? And then if I have just a 3 means any number, you can write it over 1. So its reciprocal is going to be 1 over 3. Okay? Make sense? Inverse property of multiplication. Okay? So the properties are really important in order to do well on the problem.
Inverse of multiplication is division.
That's right. Very good. So it's basically if I multiply a number with its inverse, in multiplication I get positive 1. So let's say if I multiply 4 with its reciprocal. 4 is a number and its reciprocal is 1/4, but when I multiply those two, I get 1 all the time. Okay. In algebra, we can say it's like a times 1 over a, which is same as 1 over a times a, and obviously it's always going to be a 1. When you divide fractions, you can do a simple one. It's called keep, change, and flip.
Or switch.
Or switch. Yeah, you can do that too. So the keep means first fraction. That's
Keep it, and then next you're going to change the operation.
That's right. The change is for the operation.
To do it.
Division becomes multiplication. And
the flip is to flip it.
Flip is the last one. So you flip it, it's 15 over 8. Then yes, just you do the multiplication of the fractions, or if you want to reduce them, you can reduce them too. Or you can just multiply negative times negative, it's positive. And then 4 times 15 is 60. And then 5 times 8 is 40. You can reduce that, it's going to be 3 over 2. Or you can do this math without going all the way up there. So I can see this is 5 goes in 15 3 times. 4 goes in 8 2 times. And I can write it as like 3 halves. Negative times negative is positive. Both of them works well. Okay? Try these examples just like what we learned right now. 9 we can write a 9 over 1, so you can keep this negative 3/4. And that becomes multiplication, and then negative 1/9. So you can reduce it, then you get the answer right away. Okay? So let me see, what did you do? That's positive. 3 goes in 9 3 times. Or you can write it, that's a 1 over 12. Did you get that? Right, next one. It's really important. I want you to pay close attention to this. And right here is multiplication by 0. Anytime you multiply by a 0, its answer is always 0. So it doesn't matter what number you multiply by 0, it's always 0. Even if it says like 999 times 0, it's still 0. Okay? So it doesn't matter, like if I put so many numbers up here, like a 300 and then times 22 or times 20, like all these, but you see 1 0 in there, this entire thing is going to be 0. And the second one, it's really important that you need to pay attention to this. 0 divided by a number. Okay? So when I divide any number by 0, it's okay, wait a minute, let's see. 0 divided by number. So if you divide any number by 0, you end up with a 0. Okay? So it's simple. Let's say if I put a like 999 and we need to divide it by 0, that gives you 0. Or if I put it 0 by 3, 0. But the other, it's really important. That's why a lot of people get confused. And then if you're divided by a 0, if you're dividing by a 0, then it is undefined. So let's say if I write a 22 divided by 0, it's undefined.
Because we don't know.
Yeah, I mean, nobody can divide 22 with the 0 people. Okay? So it's not possible. So that's the reason. So that's how the calculator will give you when you put a 22 divided by 0, or any number divided by 0. So let's try these two questions. Now you can just tell me by looking at the answers or looking at the questions. Tell me what's going to be 3a is going to be.
Wait, what did you say?
What is going to be the 3a? So what's the answer for the 3a?
8 1/6. Or 0, sorry, 0.
There you go. So 0. How about 3b?
We can't do it.
That's right. We cannot do it. So it's always really important to pay close attention. If you have a 0 there, then you have to be very careful whether the answer is 0 or undefined or error. We can't do it. So you need to be very careful with that. Now, this one, obviously, the first one is 0 divided by number. That's a 0. But when we divide number by 0, it's undefined. Or error, we can say is undefined. Right. But now let's look into this question, really good one here. Go ahead and read the question for me.
Multiply or divide if possible.
No, this one.
Let P represent a positive number, N represent a negative number, and Z represent 0.
Okay.
Tell whether each expression is positive, negative, zero, or undefined.
Okay, I want to give you a minute. Go ahead and try that one. So the first one is a negative, because one positive, one negative. Yep, you got it. How about the next one?
The next one is zero.
Next one is 0. Okay, because there is a 0 in it. Okay. How about 41?
41 is negative.
That's good. 42.
0.
0. Okay, because there is a 0 in there, multiplying with that becomes 0. Good work. Question loud and proud. Let's read this one. You're on mute.
The water exploration team is swimming a depth of negative 20 feet. Then they dive into underwater cave is at 7 times this depth. What is the depth of the
Or a cave. Okay. Now, if you look at this question, obviously there is let's say it's a really good information is also available too. The Florida is the home for more than 300 freshwater springs, some of which are explored by the cave divers. So the cave divers, those are the ones like they find them. But it's pretty good to know. Like Florida has a lot of freshwater springs out there. Or anyway, let's answer this question right here. Very good. So that's a negative 140 times. Because basically you're multiplying it. 20 times 7, it's a 140, but positive times negative is negative. Good work. All right, let's look at the next, another real world application. Let's go ahead and, since you read the last one, I am going to read this one for you. So a hot air balloon takes a 2.5 hours trip. The wind speed is, and the speed of the balloon is 4.75 miles per hour. The balloon travels a straight line parallel to the ground. And how many miles away from the liftoff site will be the balloon will land? So let's think about it, and then we'll answer. We're going to go over this. I'm going to give you a hint.
water?
Yeah, just a minute. Let me give you this some hint. So it's basically rate times the time gives you the distance. Okay. Okay, so 2.5 times 4.75 should be more than 4 times 2, it's 8. So it should be more than that. It can't be. It looks like your adder, I don't know how you get that one, but it's not. You need to multiply them, okay? Because the rate is how fast it is going, and then the time is like how long it is. So its rate is 2.5 hours times 4.75 miles per hour. So you can see that units also can cross it, hours and hours cross it out. Then obviously you can multiply them. It's gonna gives you around like 11.875 miles. Just left with the miles. This is okay. Very good. Now, let's look into a question that comes in the test prep or in the test. So let's read the question for me, loud and clear.
One fourth times 6 equals 1.5, and then 6 times 0.45 equals 2.7.
Okay, I like that. Where do you get the 6?
But I said that 1/4 times 6.
Yeah. I know. Where does the 6 comes from?
1.5 divided by 1/4.
That's right. That's very good. So it's a 1.5. You divide it, look at it 1/4. Basically, $1.50, 25 cents. How many of them? Or 6 of them. And then 6 times each 11 cost is 45 cents. And you get the answer. Good work. Good reasoning. Another application problems on the weather. So a cloud front changes the temperature by -3 degrees each day. If the temperature started at 0, what will be the temperature in 5 days?
Fahrenheit?
That's right.
Degree.
So you can do this problem 2 different ways. Let's say every day is -3, right? -3 plus -3 plus plus -3 plus -3 plus -3. Or simply -3 times 5 days. So you get the same thing. Okay. Degrees Fahrenheit. Good work. Good work. I like that. So today's key points basically that we need to remember when you divide or multiply real numbers, make sure you understand this triangle or the rules when you divide it negative numbers or positive numbers. And especially when you are multiplying fractions, multiply the numerators and denominators and simplify them. But coming to the division, keep, change, and flip. Keep the first one, change the sign, and then flip the second fraction. And same thing with the divide, practice it. And also the last one is, now the last one is like, when you multiply by 0, you get 0. But when you number divided by 0, it's undefined. We check that one using calculator also. And we did some word problems. That you did a good work on there. Excellent. And more word problems. That's good work. Any questions on this one today? Okay, excellent. Very good.